Hello all and welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. Wasn't a official video release from me yesterday, as instead I was hosting a live stream with the team from Hedera Starter, so Connor, Austin and the rest of his team. We were having a chat back and forth, so I wanted to thank everyone that did participate in that stream. The live VOD from that, which was roughly an hour and a half, is available somewhere on the channel if you guys want to pick it up. However, Connor released some more information about Hedera Starter, their vision for moving and expanding into the APAC regions, some more marketing information about them and the Hedera team, as well as their grant application. And then we just chatted a lot about Hedera in general and sort of cryptocurrency. So really nice chat. Big thank you to Connor and the rest of the team for joining me with that. Hopefully we can do some more impromptu things like that in the future, as it's great to develop the community further. In this video, there's a lot of different news I want to cover, a lot of regulation news that have been posted recently, as well as some more HBAR use cases and some projects I want to touch on. First things first, if we look at the crypto bubbles, again, like we normally do for the market overview, we can still see that the majority of the crypto space is still down on the weekly view. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point. We're, I think, still in a deep accumulation phase. We're not quite in a bear market yet, and I don't think we will be. However, it is worth bearing in mind that the general economic environment we're in at the moment, a lot of countries are beginning to look like they're heading towards a recession. Not trying to scare anyone, but supply chain shocks to energy and food are massive due to the tensions between Ukraine and Russia. If this continues to play out, we could see GDP shrinking in countries, and effectively several quarters in a row of shrinking GDP equates to a recession by definition. Flicking over, one of the things I wanted to cover today is XRP or Ripple. So good tweet here from Blood or Crypto. So for those who don't understand what happened today, this was the 11th yesterday. Essentially, Ripple is now allowed to use the lack of notice from the SEC in their defense. This is a massive risk to the SEC that they cannot afford to take. Therefore, there could be a settlement incoming or a settlement on the cards, which would finally resolve this case. I think it's been said time and time again, when this case is settled and finally resolved, if it's positive for XRP, which is looking like it will be, there will probably be some considerable price appreciation for XRP as they can then start deploying their use case and, effectively utilizing their system for remittances and micropayments as was intended. So some bullish news there. Flicking over to HBAR, I missed this, but on the 10th of March, the HBAR Foundation's released, they have now announced the creation of their Sustainable Impact Fund, or SIF, a critical step in furthering environmental markets and establishing the global sustainability economy on Hedera. Fractured data, lack of trust in participants, and issues around complex and opaque processes have caused issues from double spend of carbon credits to a lack of transparency in the carbon environmental markets. Directly as a result of this, the need for greater transparency, auditability, and efficiency of industry impacts on the global environment is greater than ever. Today, we are proud to announce the allocation of over $100 million in 2022 to help do our part in solving the climate crisis and address the challenges of Hedera. Dovu, building the trust layer for carbon offset integrity, beginning with a carbon marketplace, will be the first grantee from the fund. Dovu will provide granular traceability of carbon offsets to make it easy to buy and trust the source of offsets. More information about the SIF, read our blog post here. I'll link this down in the description, but this is massive, and this also draws on a lot of the phrases and words used within the White House paper we saw. So for the sort of decree that Biden is pushing out for digital assets, there is a lot of focus on carbon offsetting the integrity of that data, the carbon marketplace, and becoming sort of CO2 neutral or negative. And obviously, Dovu is a massive player in that space within the Web 3.0 and digital asset world, naturally then being built on top of Hedera as well. There was some great news recently from Flying Gazelle was his handle, so Matt Smithies, who is the technical hype officer at Dovu Official as well, talking about the Dovu Official TPS test. 30 million transactions in 24 hours, an average of nearly 250 transactions a second, or 1.25 million transactions an hour. So perfect timing before the HBAR Foundation spaces with Geisenberger, Wes, and Watkins. You can see that they are heavily testing over on the Hedera testnet, and they are looking to begin rolling this out into the mainnet. We'll see some decent spikes in the TPS and transactions processed over on the Hedera mainnet. They're very, very bullish in general for Dovu. Dovu are also rolling out early access to some token holders for staking. So Dovu are getting involved with staking. It's a little bit convoluted at the moment. Any of you that hold the Dovu, it's only available on either the Ethereum or the Binance Smart Chains, and you need to use Hashport to port the tokens back to the Hedera ecosystem. A little bit complicated at the moment, and that's why we're probably not seeing as much adoption of these tokens as we'd probably expect, as they are definitely blue chip project within the Hedera ecosystem. If you guys want to learn any more information about that, let me know, and I may release a video on how to actually use Hashport to buy these on, say, the Binance Smart Chain and port them across to a Hedera wallet such as Hashback. Flicking over, some interesting news from the United Kingdom, which is where I'm a resident. HMRC is Her Majesty's Royal Committee. New guidance on DeFi lending and staking. So HMRC have further released guidance on taxation of DeFi activities. I'm not going to go too much into it. You can read the guidance yourself in this crypto 60,000 or the 061650. But effectively, they're treating DeFi platforms as a disposal of an asset. In tax terms, if you dispose of an asset, you effectively sell it, and then that becomes a taxable event. What they're proposing is that any time you stake or loan something on a DeFi or DApp, that could be classed as disposal of an asset, and therefore you are liable to pay crypto or liable to pay capital gains tax. So anyone in the UK, be very, very wary of this, as this could eat up your personal allowance, tax-free allowance for the year. Like I said, this is not law just yet. However, a lot of things that get proposed as guidance do become enshrined in law. So it looks very, very likely that this may come to fruition, and something to very, to keep in mind effectively. The other thing as well coming out of the UK is the FCA now ordered the 81 crypto ATMs to shut down immediately, operating across the UK. So these were Bitcoin ATMs where you could effectively buy Bitcoins for cash directly at a hole in the wall. The FCA's argument for this is they have minimal security procedures, especially for smaller amounts, and none of them are regulated. I think a lot of this is to combat criminal activity within cryptocurrency, not necessarily a bad thing. However, do bear in mind is that most of the platforms now within the UK are directly liaising back and forth with the FCA. So if you do hold crypto assets, there is a higher probability the FCA and HMRC are aware how much you own. I think, for example, Binance and Coinbase, you have £5,000 of cryptocurrency, you will be notified to the HMRC and the FCA under the regulations put into place. So again, just something to bear in mind for you guys that are in this space and are under legislation. Something else I want to touch on as I released a tweet earlier today, unpopular opinion, someone needs to say it, at Jordan Freed, NFT.com has seriously missed the mark on design, strange font choices, garish colours, inconsistent margins, div spacings. Maybe you should take some inspiration from Hashback app on how it should be done. So Hashback app is obviously very modern and clean, and something that is a status symbol effectively in the Web 3.0 world, particularly on Hedera. Flick over to NFT.com. I mean, this just looks like a bit of a joke to me for a project that's hyped this much. It has the domain name NFT.com. I think this is poor at best. Whichever team has been working on this seriously needs to get their act together. I mean, garish pink, green, and blue colours with very strange font choices, div spacings all over the place. I mean, this is not a project which screams professionalism and becoming one of the largest NFT marketplaces. In my opinion, this is horrific, and they really need to go up to the drawing board. Plus, not only that, they've upset a lot of the Hedera community because a lot of this is now built on top of Ethereum and hosts lots of Ethereum-based NFTs and addresses. There are rumours that they will gradually transition back across to Hedera, and this platform, I believe, does use it's either the HCS or HTS. So part of Hedera is incorporated into this, but from a design standpoint, this does not portray a Web 3.0 world for big business and mass adoption. In my opinion, this is something that a small dev team could have pushed out in a day, and was nowhere near worth the weight that we have seen or the hype that's been assigned to it. So thoroughly disappointed over on there. I've said to you guys before, I am not a shill of anything. If I don't like it, I'll turn around and say, and I'm not impressed at all. I think Jordan Freed has gravely misled people with that platform. I'll release any more information if anything else gets said about it, but that is my opinion. One of the last things as well, talking about Hedera, is Forged Rock, so operator tokenomics and respectful personal data brokering. So creating tangible value while complying with privacy regulations can get complicated. In order for providers to deliver the most personalized and monetizable experience, consumers need to share some personal data. Data privacy regulations are upping the ante, gathering consent before using personal data, forcing enterprises to re-architect their customer experience. How can organizations continue to enhance personalized experience and customer loyalty without getting into regulatory hot water? This ties back in to a video I did recently talking about Google as the potential Fortune 10 partner. And I talk about how HCS and HTS, or the hedera consensus token services, could be integrated into their cloud stack to obfuscate sensitive data, prevent data leak, and personal data from being effectively breached to other parties. And this is what ForgeRock is effectively talking about here. So consulting companies Dojo Partners recently debuted such a scenario to key stakeholders at GSMA's Mobile World Congress in Barcelona under the headline Operator Tokenomics. Innovation Labs are working with Dojo, consent service privacy co-op, blockchain provider hedera Hashgraph, naturally, and privacy solution provider Priv in a pilot program as part of the GSMA Foundry. We aim to explore and build a reputable model for such an ecosystem applicable to individual companies as well as entire sectors. What they effectively are trying to do is build a conduit effectively between data and make sure that personal data brokering is obfuscated in a way such that it doesn't breach any sort of laws. And most of that is all being run through the hedera Hashgraph system. So again, another bullish use case for hedera. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Drop a comment. Love interacting with you guys. Check out my Twitter as well. I will be posting some more infographics soon. They are being built by me currently. They do take a little bit of time to put together. I know everyone enjoys them. Anyway, I hope you guys all have a good weekend. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.